Unfortunately, Cadillac has finally unveiled their new three-row crossover. Lincoln, as you know, has already unveiled their Lincoln Aviator, which is basically there to serve as a stopgap between the Navigator and the less expensive Nautilus. Now, it's a good thing that Cadillac finally has one of these, because I really think that a lot of Cadillac's business where they had potential customers was leaving, because the problem was there was nothing in between the XT5 and the Escalade. The Escalade has a price that's somewhere in the 80s. I think it starts slightly below 80, but the problem is it's basically an $80,000 truck. Now, you look at the XT4, and I really like what Cadillac's done with the XT4, because as far as I've seen, fully equipped models of the XT4 still cost less than a fully equipped luxury all-wheel drive version of the XT5. So now they're introducing the XT6, which up until now I thought was going to be called the XT8. They have so many of these letters. I think it's annoying. But until they finally change their naming strategy, this is just what it's going to be. Now, I've been watching some Facebook channels, and people are saying that the early reviews and the early previews and the early looks at this car haven't been too kind. And they're saying, oh, yeah, well, it has the same V6 that GM has and everything. That's only like 300 horsepower. And they're saying, oh, yeah, well, it's got a cheap plasticky interior similar to like the what you get if you get a base GM car. But the thing about it is, I think that this car is actually going to do pretty well. Now, we already know that the Chevy version of this car, we already know that that's selling. We already know that there's a lot of people who need a three-row crossover, and there are some people who are willing to pay a little bit more for that luxury brand name of Cadillac. Because, no matter how you try to downplay Cadillac, no matter how you try to downplay Lincoln, the simple fact is there's a lot of baby boomers and there are a lot of millennials who equate Cadillac and Lincoln with their idea of having a luxury car. There are some people who don't like Mercedes and don't like BMW. They don't care what's in them. They don't care how much more luxury there is. They grew up with Cadillacs and Lincolns, and they want a Cadillac or they want a Lincoln. So to them, this is what they have an option to buy. As these people are getting older, they don't want to have a really, really high step into an Escalade. They don't want to have the high steps into a Navigator. Some of them do like sitting a little higher, but a lot of them want something that's a little bit lower, but not too low to the ground. One of the problems with my aunt's the SRX that's outgoing, that she'll be using less and less now that she has this, is the fact that it was more designed similar to a sports car. Like the SRX was actually very, very similar to the CTS, and it was also a pretty good sports car with a wagon attached to it. And people don't really want wagons in America. They don't want wagons. What they really want is they want something that's a little bit more masculine, so they end up getting crossovers. They want a car on stilts, basically, but they don't want it to look anything like a mommy wagon. Now, for those people who don't care and they actually grew up with wagons, those people don't mind getting a car like this. So in my opinion, from what I've seen thus far, and I will obviously be at the New York International Auto Show when it comes to Jacob Javits, from what I've seen so far, I like the rear design. It looks a lot like the XT4. And I like the exterior. The exterior looks pretty good. It looks like a baby Escalade for the most part, unlike the XT5, which looks nothing like a Escalade. I'm liking what I see so far, and frankly, I've been actually very happy with what Cadillac's been offering. I was definitely happy with the XT4. However, it's not the car for me. It's much too small. I really like the XT5. I enjoy driving the XT5, especially if you're in traffic. The only downsides that I spotted were the fact that the transmission shifter was a monostatic transmission shifter. I don't think many people really like those. The auto stop and start on the XT5 cannot be disengaged, which is something that they solved by adding the button that they should have never taken away from the XT5. They have that button in the XT4, and from what I've seen, the XT6 is getting that button too. I'll have to wait until I get a chance to actually go to the show to sit inside it to see how high the headroom is. But from what I've seen, it looks to be at least as high as what's in the XT5. And the XT5 has a decent second row. I prefer the first row, obviously. Now, the question is, what's the third row going to be like? And usually with cars like this, you're talking about a third row that's only good for kids. Now, if you can actually get some adults back there, that's definitely going to be a big up for Cadillac. So time will tell, and we'll see what happens. But this video is basically a continuation of the last video that I made where we actually went to go purchase the car. The XT5s have good leases just like the XT4, so if you're interested in one of these cars, I really recommend leasing it instead of financing it. This is part 2 of the video that I promised of the brand new Cadillac XT5. Now, the interesting thing is Cadillac finally, with this new Detroit Auto Show, Cadillac has finally unveiled their newest XT6. So we finally have the XT6 coming. So as you can see, it's all black on black. There's a blue exterior, but the interior is black seats with black, what's it called? All black material. Now this one doesn't have the heads-up display, but what we did get was the luxury premium. And I've already done an XT5 review, but with that luxury premium comes in this back, you have this digital heated seats with the multi-zone climate control. So basically, that's what you're looking at if you're sitting in the back. The XT5 is a nice, big, spacious car. And the thing about it is, now you're going to have the XT6 coming very soon. Now, here's the thing. I've already said this. The thing that pisses me off is that Cadillac still apparently hasn't learned their lesson with this silly-ass gauge shifter. And from what I've been seeing of the XT6's release photos, they're going to have this exact same monostatic shifter in the XT6. Now, I don't understand why they haven't switched this to the XT4 shifter, because they could have done it before this thing even gets released. But apparently they're not thinking. So basically, this is the exact same thing that I've already reviewed that my mom got with her red one, except this one's blue. So it's kind of like Billy and Jimmy Lee from Double Dragon. You got blue and you got red.
I like good driving like that.
So as you can see, you have the typical luxury amenities. Panoramic sunroofs are damn near standard in some cars, and at this point, they're optional in just about any car you want them to be optional in. Now, up until today, I didn't realize that the luxury all-wheel drive model that my mother purchased did not have heated rear seats. Apparently, with the XT5, you absolutely had to purchase this unit for the multi-zone rear control in order to have heated seats. And I really did not know that. I always assumed that just about every car had standard rear heated seats. With this unit, there are no labels on the buttons, and you're expected to figure out what it is based on the icon. But it's really easiest to just throw it on auto. Unfortunately, the rear does not work if the front system is not active. And so you have this Chevy right here. This is the Equinox. And the XT4, I believe it is about, give or take, the size of the Equinox, but it's a little bit smaller. But the problem is, what happens when you want that third row? What happens when you don't want to spend the money on that Yukon or that Blazer or whatever the hell they got? Look at this. We got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chickens, turkeys. Hey, what's up? Oh, you recognize me right away. We got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, right? What's going on? Yeah, I was doing a video for the new XT5 that we got. Yeah. All right, you take care. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lambs, rams, hogs, dogs, right? See, we gotta hide the good food. Gotta hide the good food. Look at that. That's some good stuff right there. We got those yams. Look at that. Look at that. Got all you people out west watering your mouth. Your mouth is watering. Look at that. Look at that. Got hams, rams, hogs, dogs.
No.
Got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lambs, rams, hogs, dogs. So you usually come here, you get a fish dinner. Fish dinner is like, what you really do is you get like a lot of pieces of fish. So that's like 14 pieces for $21, right? But that macaroni and cheese is the shit, man. You gotta get the macaroni and cheese. Problem is, you also gotta get those candy yams over there. And then on top of that, you gotta get you some greens because you gotta have some fiber in your diet. But then you also probably gotta get some chopped barbecue right here. So by the time you're done, I think you'll probably spend about $60. So you got that chopped barbecue, you got that chicken. Look at that chicken right there. Then you got this, the chitlins. Nasty, I hate chitlins right there. But on top of that, you got those hog maws. Gotta watch out for those hog maws. That'll mess up your cholesterol right there. Look at that. Look at this. I don't even know what this is, but I know that shit's good. Oh man, it's like you can call Uber Eats. Uber Eats come pick your food up, but he gonna be waiting online. And you gotta look at that. Look at this. Look at this. You got the peach cobbler. Look at that peach cobbler. Oh man, I think saliva is dripping from my lips right now. Sweet potato pie, lemon cake, chocolate. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my. I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lambs, rams, hogs, dogs. As promised, this is the follow-up video of the Cadillac XT5 that I took you with me to Cadillac last, about a week ago, I think it was, in order to lease. So this right here, unlike the one my mother leased, this is a premium luxury all-wheel drive. Now my mother's is a luxury all-wheel drive. The only difference is that this one has the rear seat multi-zone climate control. This one has the larger shiny aluminum metal wheels, and this also has heated and ventilated seats up front. Now the difference in price is considerable. This one, the lease is about $600 or something per month. Meanwhile, the one that my mother got was lower, like it was like low fives, basically. And I think the term was also different. The lease on this one is about 3 years. The one that my mother got was 4. So, certain cars I think are best to lease, and the reason why is because some cars, it's like in the long term when the computers go out of whack or when things need to be fixed, you don't want to get stuck with higher repair bills, and especially when you got this much equipment. So this obviously comes with navigation system, heated cooled seats, leather interior, panoramic roof, multi-zone climate control, and everything else that the XT5 comes with. So basically the XT5 is here. We've got the XT4. The XT4 seems to be doing well. And on top of the XT4, they have the XT6 coming. Storage space. Yeah. For people who want a 3-row crossover, there's more and more coming to the market. Now, there are very smallish ones like the Acura MDX, which is something I'd never consider buying in a billion years. Then you have options like the Dodge Durango, which unlike the Cadillac and unlike the Lincolns, you can actually get with a V8 engine, or you can actually get the 6.4 racing level Hemi V8, and possibly in the future there'll be a supercharged V8. But as far as Cadillac goes, I don't see anything wrong with just having the V6 engine available, even though it's only 300 horsepower. It's plenty of power to move this car through the city, especially if you're an older person who's not racing anybody. The horsepower wars seems to be limited to millennials and Generation Z, wherein baby boomers just want a quiet, soft, and smooth ride that is reliable. The XT5 has been reliable thus far for us, and I'm sure that my aunt won't have any problems with hers. This is definitely a good car worth checking out if you're looking for a three-row crossover.